Are you afraid your best days are behind you? This 70-year-old thought so too, until he discovered these 6 habits. Have you ever woken up and wondered if this is all there is? If that feeling of joy and purpose you once had is gone forever? You're not alone. James was 70 years old. He felt tired, lonely, and deeply unhappy. His days blended together in a fog of television, processed meals, and isolation. I was just waiting for the end, he told us. I felt like my life was already over. But just 6 months later, everything changed. Now James wakes up smiling at 5:30 a.m. He exercises daily. He volunteers at the community garden twice a week. And most importantly, he feels genuinely happy again. What changed? It wasn't medication. It wasn't winning the lottery. It wasn't some miracle supplement being sold online. Today on Senior Wellness, we're uncovering the 6 simple daily habits that helped James rediscover joy after 70, habits that research shows can transform mental health at any age, but especially after 40 when life's challenges often hit hardest. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe if you believe your best years are still ahead of you, because after hearing James's story, I promise you'll see they can be. Now, let's talk about the first habit that changed everything for James. Habit number 1, the morning reset. For years, James started his days by grabbing his phone, scrolling through negative news, and then dragging himself out of bed feeling drained before the day even began. My mornings set the tone for miserable days, James explained. His first change was simple but powerful. Now, when James wakes up, his phone stays off. Instead, he follows what geriatric psychologist Dr. Sarah Miller calls the golden hour. First, he stretches gently for 5 minutes while still in bed, nothing strenuous, just waking up his muscles. Next, he sits by his window and takes 10 deep breaths, paying attention to the morning light and sounds outside. Finally, he writes in a small notebook 3 things he's looking forward to that day, even if it's just a good cup of coffee or a favorite TV show. Starting my day intentionally instead of reactively was the first domino that changed everything else, James says. The science backs him up. Morning cortisol, your stress hormone, peaks within 30 minutes of waking. How you use those first minutes literally programs your brain chemistry for the next 16 hours. Dr. Miller explains, when you start your day with intentional calm rather than digital stimulation, you're teaching your brain that you are in control, not your circumstances. Could you give yourself just 15 minutes tomorrow morning before checking your phone? It might just change your entire day. Start the day. Don't just survive it. This brings us to habit number 2, daily nature walks. When James's doctor first suggested daily outdoor walks, James laughed. I told him my knees hurt too much, James recalls. He told me they'd hurt more if I didn't start moving them. So James began with just 10 minutes around his neighborhood block. Within 2 weeks, something unexpected happened. I started noticing things, the birds, the changing leaves, my neighbor's garden. I realized I'd been living in this neighborhood for 12 years but had stopped seeing it. Now James walks for 30 minutes each morning, rain or shine. He uses a walking stick when his arthritis flares up. On very bad days, he still gets outside, even if just to sit on his porch. The science is remarkable here. A 2019 study from the University of Michigan found that just 20 minutes in nature significantly lowers stress hormones. Another study showed walking outdoors improves memory in adults over 60 by up to 20% compared to indoor exercise. Being in natural light resets your circadian rhythm, explains Dr. Richard Lopez, chronobiologist. Most seniors are chronically underexposed to natural light, which disrupts sleep, mood, and even digestion. James puts it more simply, the sunshine just makes me feel alive again. Sunlight is free medicine. This leads us to habit number 3, intentional conversations. Perhaps the most painful part of James's story was his isolation. After his wife passed 5 years earlier, he gradually lost contact with friends. His children lived in different states. Some days, he realized, he hadn't spoken a single word aloud. Humans need connection like plants need water, says sociologist Dr. Emma Chen. Without it, we literally begin to wither. James's solution started with one simple commitment: he would call one old friend each week. Just one call. The first call was awkward, he admits. I hadn't talked to my college roommate in nearly a decade. But by the third call, it felt natural again. Then, during one of his nature walks, James noticed a community garden. He observed the same group of seniors there each Tuesday morning. After walking by for 3 weeks, he finally stopped to talk. They needed someone to help water on Thursdays, he smiles. Now I have 8 new friends and fresh vegetables. Harvard's landmark 80-year study on adult happiness found that close relationships are the strongest predictor of well-being in later life, stronger than money, fame, social class, IQ, or genes. And the science on loneliness is sobering. It increases mortality risk by 26%, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes daily. Yet 43% of adults over 60 report feeling regularly lonely. You are not made to be alone. What conversation have you been putting off? Who could you reach out to today? Habit number 4, one whole food meal per day. James's diet before his transformation consisted largely of frozen dinners, fast food, and snacks. Cooking for one seemed pointless, he explains. Rather than a complete diet overhaul, which rarely sticks, James committed to preparing just one fresh meal daily. I started with dinner, he says. Simple things: a baked sweet potato, some grilled chicken, a handful of spinach. Nothing fancy. Within 3 weeks, James noticed more energy in the afternoons. Within 6 weeks, he was sleeping better. After 3 months, his doctor reduced his blood pressure medication. I was skeptical that food could affect my mood, James admits. But the difference is undeniable. Nutritional psychiatrist Dr. Amanda Rogers explains, the gut-brain connection is powerful, especially as we age. Processed foods increase inflammation, which is directly linked to depression. Just one whole food meal daily can begin reversing this process. James now enjoys cooking. His go-to meals are simple. Breakfast, oatmeal with blueberries and walnuts. Lunch, large salad with chickpeas, olive oil, and lemon. Dinner, baked fish with roasted vegetables. What you eat becomes how you feel. Habit number 5, 1 hour of meaningful activity. Before his transformation, James spent an average of 6 hours daily watching television, mostly news and crime shows. The TV was just noise, he reflects. It filled the silence but deepened my sadness. Now, James dedicates 1 hour each day to what psychologists call flow activities, tasks that require just enough focus to keep your mind engaged but not overwhelmed. For James, this means reading historical biographies for 30 minutes and practicing sketching landscapes for another 30 minutes. I'm terrible at drawing, he laughs, but I enjoy the process. Time disappears when I'm doing it. On Thursdays, his flow hour is spent at the community garden. On Sundays, he's learning to play chess with a neighbor. Purpose fights depression. Dr. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, famously wrote that the primary driver of happiness is having meaning in your life. Modern neuroscience confirms this. Purposeful activities increase dopamine and serotonin, your brain's natural antidepressants. When seniors replace passive consumption with active engagement, we see remarkable improvements in cognitive function and mood, says neurologist Dr. Samuel Kim. Television specifically has been linked to higher rates of depression in those over 65. What activity makes you lose track of time? What could you spend an hour doing instead of watching screens? Habit number 6, 3 blessings each night. James saved what he considers the most powerful habit for last. Every night before bed, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for that day, he explains, showing me a simple notebook filled with brief entries. Not big things, just moments. The taste of fresh bread. A text from my daughter. The cardinal that visits my bird feeder. This practice, known as gratitude journaling, has been extensively studied. One study at UC Davis found that participants who wrote down 3 positive events each day showed a 25% increase in happiness scores after just 21 days. I was deeply skeptical, James admits. It seemed too simple. But it changed how I see everything. When you're looking for things to write down, you start noticing good moments all day long. Dr. Lisa Chen, positive psychology researcher, explains, gratitude journaling works because it retrains your brain's reticular activating system, the filter that determines what you notice and what you ignore. Depression creates a negative filter where you only see problems. Gratitude practice literally rewires this filter. The key, James emphasizes, is consistency. Even on terrible days, I find 3 things. Sometimes it's just I'm still breathing, or the pain was less today, or I have a roof over my head. But I never skip it. Shift your focus, shift your life. Let me tell you where James is today. 6 months after beginning these 6 habits, James's transformation is remarkable. His doctor has reduced his medications. His children comment on his energy during video calls. He sleeps through the night without medication for the first time in years. Most importantly, James has rediscovered joy. I'm not saying I never feel sad or lonely, he clarifies. But those feelings no longer define my days. I have purpose again. I have hope. James didn't need a miracle. He didn't need expensive treatments or complicated regimens. He needed daily rituals, patience, community, and the belief that change was possible, even at 70. Let's recap the 6 habits that transformed James's life. Morning reset, intentional first 15 minutes. Daily nature walks, even just 10 to 20 minutes. Intentional conversations, weekly connections. 1 whole food meal daily, simple, fresh ingredients. 1 hour of meaningful activity, engaged, not passive. 3 blessings each night, training your brain to see good. Which habit will you start tomorrow? Remember, James didn't implement all 6 habits at once. He started with just the morning reset. 2 weeks later, he added nature walks. The rest followed gradually. If you've ever felt stuck, lonely, or like your best days are behind you, I want you to hear this: it's not too late. Your age is not a sentence to unhappiness. You deserve joy. You deserve health. And Senior Wellness is here to help you find it again. Before you go, leave a comment telling us which habit resonates most with you or 1 healing habit you already practice. Your wisdom might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear today. And if you know someone who's struggling with feelings of sadness or isolation, especially in their midlife or senior years, please share this video. It might be the hope they need. Thank you for watching Senior Wellness. Remember, your best days aren't behind you, they're still unfolding, 1 mindful habit at a time. We'll see you in the next video.